Welcome to I May Be Wrong.
I don't know what this world is coming to,
but I don't think so. We're broadcasting from the greater Nashville area, the home of country music, beyond the borders of political correctness and identity politics. Facts and faith are our demarcations. Truth lights our path.
Here's the Barry White of Podcast Radio,
the Venerable Alfonso Ashworth.
Well, welcome to another exciting episode of I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so. Of course, having a little bit of technical difficulties this morning, but that's all right too, because there's a lot happening out there. There's a lot happening in our world around us. There's a lot happening with the pandemic. There's a lot going on that we need to address. But at the same time, we need to be vigilant. We need to be patient. We need to let everybody know that God has this and everything is going to work out according to his will. Now, of course, if you're not familiar with listening to the show, you're not familiar listening to the program, you can find us on Facebook Live. You can also find us at I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so.com. So if you can't listen here or if you can't listen live, you can find us later on the podcast. All you have to do is go to my website at I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so. And you can find us there on the podcast. You can listen on our YouTube channel. You can also find us on other avenues if you would like to find out more about what we're doing. If you'd like to be a contributor to the show. Look, folks, there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on. I'm going to play you a short video clip before I welcome my guest on. And this is something that we need to think about. You know, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to make you more panicky than you already probably are. People out here buying up all the goods and services on the shelves at the stores. They're just going crazy. And they don't really have to. There's plenty out there for everyone. And this too shall pass. But I'm going to play you a quick video clip before I have my guest come on. And I want you to check this out.
A national emergency, and it's been signed many times before. It's been signed by other presidents. From 1977 or so, it gave the presidents the power. There's rarely been a problem. They sign it, nobody cares. I guess they weren't very exciting.
Build that wall, build that wall. Build that wall, 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 build that wall.
The president can declare an emergency on something that he has created as an emergency, an illusion that he wants to convey. Just think of what a president with different values can present to the American people. You want to talk about a national emergency? Let's talk about today, the one-year anniversary of another manifestation of the epidemic of gun violence in America. That's a national emergency.
John Summers is a former communications director for Senator Harry Reid, and he joins us tonight. John, thanks a lot for coming on.
You bet.
So they're telling us there's no crisis at all at the border. But I guess my question is, how would they know that? Since I don't think anybody knows how many people are here illegally in this country. I see estimates from credible sources that go from 11 to 22 million. That's a spread of 11 million people. So if we don't really know how many people are here, how can we say there's no crisis?
Well, and I think you raise a good point. There is a crisis, but that doesn't necessarily rise to the occasion of a national emergency.
But we don't have any idea. If there's a spread of 11 million in the credible estimates as to the number of how many there are, and what we're really saying is we don't know anything at all about over 10 million people who live within our borders. Many of whom are using fake federal documents, fake social security numbers and fake federal. That's a felony in every case. It's a felony. So first question. If I go to a bank and use a fake federal document, a fake social security number, should I be charged for that, or is that okay?
I think you should definitely be charged.
Well, then why aren't we charging the people who are doing it?
That's not what we're talking about right now.
Well,
that's not what the president is talking about.
Okay, no, look, I'm not here to defend Trump. I'm just here to state the obvious, which is this is a crisis.
Felony, and they should be afforded due process. I don't know how a wall is going to be the one and only thing that's going to stop
I don't know
what you're talking
anybody
about.
who's saying it's the one and
what
only
do you think ought to be done to actually prevent this issue with overstayed
Well, how
visas?
about we round up every single person who we think is here illegally and find out if they're committing the felony that we're talking about now, using a fake Social Security number? Would you be for that? You just said I should be charged for doing it, but you're not for charging them for doing that. So I just want you to explain that to me
If you're
slowly.
caught in the act of doing it, then yeah, obviously you should be held accountable.
But what if I do it and I wait? But hold on, wait a second.
That's way different from going around and doing roundups.
Wait a second, John. Now you're changing.
You're talking about doing a roundup.
Wait, hold on. I asked you, should I be charged as an American citizen if I use a fake Social Security number? And you said, well, of course, it's a felony. But now you're telling me that foreign nationals.
You know, we have to speak truth. Racism is real in this country. It was before he was elected. It will be after. Anti-Semitism, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia. These issues are real in our country.
What about Christian
we have to
phobia?
speak truth about it. And certainly we must point out and never condone anyone who uses their power in a way that fans it.
Terrorist attack in El Paso was motivated in part by the president constantly warning of invasions and infestations and predators
and that's
Mexican
exactly
immigrants
what's
who he
happening
described as rapists
in this
and
country.
Criminals, though we know they commit crimes at a far lower rate than those who are born
but they shouldn't be
in
here
this country
at all.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. What are you doing about that injustice? It's not enough to say I'm not a racist in America. If racism exists, you need to be anti-racist.
And we need to be much more aggressive than the Trump administration has in going after those people. So I am a strong civil libertarian. But on the other hand, I want to make sure that we do not see.
Imagine these people running the country right now.
In this country, and that we understand that those white nationalists are, in fact, when they get involved in violence, they are terrorists and they should be treated as terrorists.
And you support red flag laws?
Yes, I do. I do.
We'd much rather be ahead of the curve than behind it, and that's what we are. Therefore, my administration is recommending that all Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible, avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people, avoid discretionary travel, and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts. If everyone makes this change or these critical changes and sacrifices now, we will rally together as one nation and we will defeat the virus.
Well, folks, we are in a brave new world. And I've had this person on my show before, and he's returning. So I want you to welcome to the program, Mr. Anonymous. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, Al, how you doing?
Man, I tell you, people are not ready for this. They're not ready. Not only are they not ready for the truth, they're not ready for what's coming that we don't know about. Now, I'm welcoming you back on the show because I've had you on before because we talk about these things that people don't want to discuss about, some people are calling conspiracies. They're going to call conspiracy theories. And look, I don't agree with everything most people say when it comes to conspiracies because I've got my own point of view. Now, of course, I got those on the website on Facebook that are listening in. So I want to welcome all y'all listening in. So if you got some questions or your comments, please feel free to post them in the chat room. Tell me something. Let's get right into this because we don't have a lot of time.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on.
Jump right into what it is that you think is going on with the coronavirus that other people are not talking about.
Well, nobody wants to talk about the origins of the virus and the ideas behind the origins of the virus. Because you got to remember the epicenter was in Wuhan, China. Okay?
Correct.
Now, it's very easy for people to point fingers at China because of they're very lax on any kind of regulations for anything they export, anything they do inside their own country. But in Wuhan, they do have a viral lab where they do, studies.
Yes. And so do we. I said it straight. We right. do the same as well, but go ahead.
Yes, we do. And they also have a market that sells animal meat for human consumption, which is You know, they don't have the FDA, they don't have anybody, you know, checking on their products and their meat and stuff like that. So they can pretty much sell these people whatever they desire. But with everything that's going on politically, and with everything that Trump did to China, China was very upset that they were the ones, basically the largest country in the world that was suffering at the hand of the United States tariffs and stuff that the new trade agreements Trump has put in place.
Got you.
So they basically, this is a well-planned viral attack on the U.S. economy and Trump. Okay, and pretty much the global elite and the Democrats have thrown everything they could think of at Trump, and he's just sidestepped each one of them.
Gotcha.
I mean, we all understand that. We know what's going on, and a lot of people are waking up to that fact. But this virus, he can't sidestep. He can't sidestep a viral agent, and they know that, okay? I mean, that they put this plan in effect to tank our economy and to smear him, and I mean, it's working to perfection. People are panicking. The markets are going up one day, down twice as much the next day, then back up again, half as much. I mean, the markets are fluctuating like kids on a trampoline.
Gotcha.
And I mean, it's hurting the American economy, of course, and it's hurting the American workers, and it's hurting American businesses. I mean, people are really, really panicking out there, and the media is just stepping in and fanning the flames. Instead of discussing how many people have contracted the virus and are getting better, they're just, death, quarantine, death, quarantine. Okay, they don't want to tell you that, I think it's like 67% of the people that have contracted this virus have already been over it. They're cured.
And some people don't even know they've had it. That's the scary part. Now, I'm going to let's pause for a second, because I want to make sure everybody's getting the direction you're going in, because I want to give you plenty of times. Okay. You think there's more to this. And of course, you're not saying that there's not a virus. You're not saying there's a hoax or anything like that. What you're saying, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, there's an underlying benefit to someone. There's something somebody's getting for this, and that's what we need to be aware of. Go ahead and finish your thought, Mr. Anonymous.
Right. I'm not saying there is not a virus, that the virus is a hoax. No, there's definitely a virus. But its origins are what should be suspicious, and the way that it was released should be suspicious. You got to remember that, and a lot of people don't want to talk about this, and everybody that does, you don't know what you're talking about, you're just an old grumpy conspiracy theorist. The global elites, the richest 1% of everybody in the world, controls what happens from day to day, whether you want to believe that or not. And there's a little thing out there, and I never used to pay attention to it, and it really makes me mad now because it's my own fault. The New World Order.
Okay.
All right. And I never paid attention to it because when we were kids, Al, the NWA was wrestling. Okay. And everybody's heard of the NWA. Oh, we used to go watch Dusty Rhodes and, all the greats wrestling. But when I started hearing this NWO, I was like, oh, well, it's just a group of wrestlers that are coming together and they're forming their own thing and doing it. Okay. Now, that's funny because I didn't pay attention. Well, when I found out, I started looking into this New World Order thing, and I was like, what's going on with this New World Order? Okay. Well, they want one world religion. They want one world government. And they also strictly believe that we've got to depopulate the earth by some 650 million people so that we will not use up the earth's natural resources and we can continue to sustain. Now, I didn't know all this, so I'm playing catch up here, and I feel stupid, to be honest with you.
Right.
But this checks off their boxes, Al. Okay? And you have George Soros coming out. You've got Rothschilds coming out saying, and publicly saying that Trump is destroying the New World Order.
Exactly. And let me pause you. Let me pause you for a second because you've touched on something. There are 7.8 billion people on the planet, roughly, give or take a few million.
Right.
What this pandemic has done is so far we know of 8,000 deaths or so. out of close to 200,000 people who have been infected. But the focus is on one virus besides what it's doing as to what the media is saying it's doing. The fear is no one knows what the outcome is going to be. We don't know. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know how far it's going to spread. And eventually we don't know how many people have it and they don't know they have it. That's the fear that's causing the panic. Now I can understand that, but I do understand what you're saying about crippling the United States economy, preventing us from protecting our borders, one world government, globalist, and eventually what you're going to have is a all out call for one economy, one government, one religion. And that's where we headed. If that's did I get you what you saying that that's where we headed? Correct.
Yes. And that basically is the motivation behind the release of this virus, because China, but here's the other ironic thing, Al, that not a lot of people know. China manufactures, 96% of our pharmaceuticals?
Correct.
Okay, so here we got the Chinese government is pissed because their economy is going in the tank because of the trade sanctions and the tariffs and the new trade deal that President Trump has come up with out of his mind and with the help of his cabinet and stuff, which was pretty good. And their economy is going in the tank, and we're going through the roof. And they're like, well, we're not going to be the only ones to suffer. We can take care of this. Now, the release of the virus, I mean, I hate to say this because it was genius. Okay, they knew exactly what they were doing with the what they call the gestation period or the incubation period.
Correct.
And there, not too long ago, there was about 328 since January, I think is the number, of Chinese nationals caught trying to sneak across the border. Now, those are just the ones that were caught. We all know how easy it is to stroll across the border and how hard it is for us to stop them and how hard it is for us to keep them under check down there. But if they caught 328 since January, there's probably a lot larger number that actually made it through. Now, if some of them made it through and they were carrying purposely carrying the virus.
The virus, yes.
Right. They would be, the virus lives inside of the host, and then, of course, the host comes to the United States, and then, boom, here you go. I'm out coughing on everybody. I'm interacting with hundreds of people.
And it don't take many contacts, because one gets to 300, 300 gets to 10,000, 10,000 gets to 1 million. So it does not take long for this to spread. But what you're saying is that incubation period of about 14 days gives it time to take hold in a country before you can get a hold of it.
Yes.
And that's where we are.
Show any symptoms.
Yes, you won't show any symptoms, or if you do show symptoms, if you're healthy enough, you will become a carrier. You will be the one helping spread the disease or the virus, not necessarily that you're going to contract the symptoms. Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, let's get to where you want to get to, because we got just a few minutes. What is the motive behind the overall crippling of the United States economically, and where will this lead us, say, come election time?
Now you're starting to think on it. Because remember, right before the 2000, we had an election in 2008 when we had the H1N1. And a lot of people are pointing, they said, well, there was an election to win when they were talking about the H1N1. And okay, well, that election was won. Well, now there's another election to win that's very, very important to the global elites and the Democrats and the liberals. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They want their candidate to win at all costs. And this is what they're willing to put the lives of millions of people and possibly kill hundreds of thousands of people to get their agenda, to push their agenda. Trump, people are going out, they're talking about the primaries, and the people are going out and electing. We're voting for somebody. We don't care who it is, just as long as they can beat Trump. Beating Trump is the number one priority.
And that's not just the people here. There are people outside the United States that wants Trump gone just as much as the Democrats.
Yes, because he's hurting their pocketbook and their way of life. And they want him gone. This is a global agenda, Al. This is not just a Democratic agenda in the United States. This is not just a Democratic political hit job. This is a global political hit job and smear campaign against the president. And when you look at the numbers of the H1N1, and before Obama even acted, because boy, they've been throwing those numbers up all over the place recently.
Right.
I mean, we had 12,000 people die before he even declared an emergency.
Exactly. And they did not shut down. They did not shut down the country. They did not shut down the businesses. But now we got to keep in mind, at that time, that Ebola was something in another country. And we had vaccines for that.
Right.
In this case, we don't have a vaccine to stop this virus.
And the reason for that, Al, is because, and I just found out this morning. I hadn't had a chance to send you any information on it. There's a immunologist said that the reason there is no vaccines or any kind of medicine for that is because this is not a human. This is not an animal to human. This is not a human to human virus. This is an animal to human virus. And within the last 2 weeks, that it mutated to where it was basically spreadable from human to human, not just animal to human.
Right.
So the way it mutated is why the human immune system does not recognize that this is a human virus. It's an animal virus. So your human body doesn't recognize or know how to fight it internally. And it's also it's very aggressive attacking of the lungs. And that's why the elderly are so
vulnerable,
at risk. Yes, because it attacks the lungs. And it's just crazy. And all this panic. And I mean, the media is standing there fanning this panic. I mean, my wife was in the grocery store, and she witnessed people trying to stock the shelves with toilet paper.
Yes.
And people were rushing them, ripping open the cases,
and
almost knocking the store clerks to the floor.
Yes. And that's scary. And you know what?
Yes.
What's really more frightening, and I don't want to panic people, but they just had an earthquake. We just had an earthquake in Utah, 5.7 magnitude, and a lot of people there without power. Our grid, our infrastructure is in poor condition. And people think that this situation is bad. You let us have a outage of electricity for any length of time, and you're going to see much worse. So we've got other problems in this country we need to address. We need to address our infrastructure. We need to secure our borders. We need to get our economy back under control. We need to get our deficit back under control. And we need to stop this situation before it can take get more traction. Now, you got about a couple of minutes to kind of wrap your thoughts up on this, Anonymous. Tell me just within that time frame, where are we going, and when will we see the end of this, if we see an end?
Well, one of the other major problems we got, Alan, what's causing a lot of this panic is the media and the liberals know that the younger generation will only react to things they feel will impact their daily lives.
Okay.
So this is perfect. So they want to scare the shit out of them. And make this out to be something worse than it really is, and watch what happens. It's like we're gonna put this narrative out there. We're gonna run it 24/7. The younger generations are gonna take it. They took it hook, line, and sinker. They're out there freaking out. They're causing public panic. They're trying to get why they're buying toilet paper. I have no idea, but they're hoarding everything, and they know that these younger generation people are the ones that are going to react the most to it. Okay.
Yes.
Now, Like you say, if our power grid goes down, what else is going to go down? Internet's going to go down.
Yes.
Okay. And you know how people act when they lose their Wi-Fi for 5 minutes.
You got me there. Go ahead.
Okay. People freak out. We can't have our phones out of our hands for 2 seconds. We sit down and hey, put your phone down and pay attention to me for a minute. Okay. Well, you put your phone down. Not even 30 seconds later, you're reaching for that phone again, picking it up, and you're checking your feed. You're checking, do I get any emails? You're checking this. Hey, who sent me a text message? Internet goes down. You're going to see chaos like nobody has ever seen before. And a lot of people are right. I mean, you're seeing these long lines of people at the gun stores because they know what's coming.
And you know something? Some places have stopped. They're trying to stop people from being able to purchase ammunition at the moment. And that's another whole topic for another day. Of course, I always enjoy having you on the show because I know you don't want to give your name out. I know who you are. Matter of fact, we've actually met in person.
Yes.
And I thank you for stopping by and seeing me at that time. But I understand why you don't want to give your name out. But at the same time, I appreciate you coming on and giving me your thoughts, and that my audience has been able to come on. They actually, I think somebody is playing games with us this morning because my Facebook listeners are saying that they're getting interruptions, but they'll be able to go back and listen to this on the podcast. But Mr. Anonymous, I appreciate you coming on. I always enjoy your thoughts. And sir, stay safe, stay vigilant, stay out there and get that information, and whatever you can share, please share with others.
All right, Al, thanks for having me on, and man, keep up the fight.
God bless you, brother. Of course, that was Mr. Anonymous. He's come on from time to time to share his thoughts. Now, of course, folks, we're not going to be able to fix all of these problems overnight. We're not going to be able to fix the government. We're not going to be able to stop the viruses. They're going to come and they're going to go. We're not going to be able to prevent the next catastrophe from happening. The only thing we can prepare is to prepare ourselves for whatever we can. And of course, we all need to be on our knees praying that God will show mercy and that his mercy will be everlasting, and that whatever we go through, that his will be done on heaven and, of course, right here on this earth. I want to thank everyone, of course, for listening in on the Facebook. I hear that we're getting some issues there, but that's okay. You can go back and listen to the entirety of this show on my podcast at I May Be Wrong, but I Don't Think So.com. And that way you will be able to catch back up on something if you didn't hear everything. I want to appreciate you, Paula, for coming in. Ruby is in the chat room. Carl Edis Mitchell III. All the others who have commented Daryl was in the chat room. So I want to appreciate everybody that's been in the chat room today on Facebook. I appreciate everyone that supports the show. Look, there's a lot of things that's going to be happening in the next few days. Do not panic. Do not lose your cool. Take care of your home, take care of your family, and take care of yourselves. What? Wash your hands regularly. If you get sick, do not be around other people. Keep your distance. Do not be in crowds more than 10. If you can work from home, work from home. Help is on the way. The president has got your back. He's going to take care of the American people, and that I can guarantee you, and that is something we can trust in. I want to tell you, God bless you. God bless America. Peace.
You've been listening to Alfonso Ashworth, the Barry White of Podcast Radio. Go forth and share his message. I may be wrong, but I don't think so. Remember, no two people can ever occupy the same place at the same time. You were uniquely and wonderfully made, born an original. Don't die a copy. God bless. Peace.